Hello, everyone. Thanks for the great introduction, Nancy. I appreciate it. All right, so today we're going to talk about firewall configurations, routing tables. I'm kidding, we're not. I think two people passed out in the back already. I mean, this story is really about a local company, and it talks about very low-tech attack and how it impacted them and how it actually caused a lot of damage to them. A lot of times we think that cybersecurity issues are only technology, partially, but they're also culture-based and process and procedure-based. All right, so you guys heard an introduction about Artemis. We are a local managed service provider. We've been in Brevard County and operating since 1995. A little about me, 25 years in the military, 25 years in cybersecurity and IT. Former U.S. Army veteran, and served on the board at ESFC for their cybersecurity program and also for the Palm Bay Chamber. All right, so let's talk about BEC. What is BEC? BEC stands for Business Email Compromise. By definition, it is business email compromise is a sophisticated scam where attackers deceive employees into sending money to fraudulent accounts by impersonating company executives or partners through social engineering techniques. Who here knows what social engineering is? All right, good. Social engineering basically is a method that attackers use to actually leverage or coerce your employees to give them information to attack your systems. And this is an example of it. Why is this important? Well, the primary reason the BEC attack occurs is because of financial reasons, right? They want to rob you for your company's money. There's many ways they can do this. By successfully achieving a BEC attack against a company, you now become a target for further attacks that could be more destructive to your systems or your data. Reputational damage, obviously if the word gets out that your company's been attacked, cyber attack, that can affect your business. If you lose money or enough money, or you can't pay your employees, you can't pay your suppliers, that can become an issue and the word gets out. For those of you who work in healthcare, financial firms, or for the government, this could cause legal and regulatory issues for you. There's reporting that you have to do. If an investigation happens and you're not meeting the controls that are required to manage your cybersecurity, it could be a problem for your company. And then lastly, operational, right? You lose 5% of your revenue because somebody stole it. How is that going to affect your company? It could be a major issue. So let's get into the story. The FBI has done research on this, a lot of research, and back in 2019, they estimated the annual losses from BEC attacks was about $1.7 billion. Fast forward to 2023, we're now at $2.9 billion in losses, right? So the more companies use the internet, the cloud, this is going to continue to increase. And if we look at the trend, it's just going up and up and up and up. Let's talk about understanding BEC. There's different types of BEC out there. These are some of the more popular ones. CEO fraud, right? I think the Chamber's pretty familiar with this one. Not that it happened, but we've been targets of attempted CEO fraud attacks. This is where basically your employees receive a text or an email from an attacker purporting to be the CEO of the company. And what they'll do is they'll say, hey, Jill, I'm at so-and-so client, I'm trying to close a deal. I need you to go buy 100 gift cards at Best Buy because we need to do this to close. They're trying to evoke the sense of urgency to your employee to have them go get gift cards and then provide them with the information of the gift cards to close the deal. There you go. We have somebody it happens to. So that's a very popular one. Invoice fraud is another big one. It's sort of what we're going to talk about today. There's also attorney impersonation. Data theft is a huge one, especially if you're in healthcare, finance. They want that data. So that data gets sold to entities in the dark web and is then sold to other people for abuse. What? Absolutely. Real estate transaction fraud, mortgage broker transaction fraud, and employee paid fraud. This one is just conniving. Attacker sends an email to the HR representative of your company and says, hey, it's Bill from accounting, right? I changed my bank. I need you to change my routing number and my account number so that I can get my pay on Friday. If the HR person doesn't pay attention and changes that account, guess what happens? That employee's check goes to the attacker, right? So that's another one to look out for. Okay, so the story I'm going to tell is about a local company. This is the company profile. They're a local, or they were, locally headquartered here in Brevard County. They were a healthcare company. They were also a federal contractor doing work for the Department of Defense, Department of State, and the Department of Homeland Security. The revenue was about $1 billion annually. Large company. They had 5,000 employees and locations all over the world. Now, how did this start? Well, it all started with one email. The attacker had sat down, did a lot of research before this email went out, and by looking through LinkedIn, was able to develop a profile for this company and identify which employees worked in accounting and finance. From that list of employees, they made a decision that we're going to attack the controller of the company and sent her an email. Now that email was composed, basically, who here uses Office 365? All right, several people. So you guys kind of know what those emails look like when you get them, right? The controller's email pretty much looked that way, and it even had the company logo on it. And the message of the email said was, this is the company IT department. We are verifying our employees' usernames and passwords to make sure they're secure. Click here.
Wow. Never.
Controller, trying to be a good employee, clicked on the email. That took her to a website with the company logo on it. Oh, this must be legit, right? In there it said, put your username and password to verify. She put in her username, she put in her password, click verify. Window pops up, thank you very much, you can close this window. That was it, right? That was the beginning of the attack. Now, from that moment, right, until the actual bad stuff started happening, was 2 months later down the road. Because what did the attackers do? They gained persistence, right? They sat there and literally read her emails for 2 months, right? What emails are coming into her email account? From who? The CEO, for coworkers, Best Buy, whatever. And then also what emails are going out, right? CEO, the CFO, her other employees, etc. From that persistence and from watching those emails for over 2 months, they were able to pretty much reverse engineer the accounts payable process. So they knew who was involved in the entire process from beginning to end, which in this case, right, it was junior accountants would put a file together, right? It's a basic note WordPad file that had several line items in it. In that file, right, those line items were the payee, account number, routing number, and the amount that was to be paid on that Friday. Usually about 40 payees on that list. So you figured that out, you knew that that file went to the controller reviewed it, approved it, and then sent it off to a senior accountant to send off to the bank to process the wires. So over 2 months, their pay cycle was about every 2 weeks. 3 pay cycles they sat there watching this process. 3 pay cycles. That's how cunning they are, how patient they are, right? And they're pretty intelligent. On the 4th pay cycle, they knew that on Thursday at 10:30, or between 10:30 and 12, that controller was going to receive an email from her accounting team with that file, right? So around 10:25, the attacker logged in from Croatia with a cup of coffee and just waited. Just sat there and waited, right? And sure, as you can bet, that email came in. Now, the other conniving thing that they did was that they also put a rule in the controller's email box, an automatic email rule, which would take that email when it arrived and move it to a subfolder so she would never see the email come in. Okay? So the email came in, the attacker was sitting there with his cup of coffee, watching the folder that he had configured through that rule for that email to come in. The email came in, the attacker downloaded the file, right? Again, text file, opened it, added five lines, right? With 5 different bank accounts, 5 different routing numbers, and $150,000 amount attached to it, right? Save that file, log back in as the controller, because remember they still had their information, and sent it to the senior accountant to send to the bank to process. The senior accountant received that file, and on that Friday, $800,000 of that company's money was gone. It was sent to 5 banks in the Bosnia area. From there, it quickly transferred over to cryptocurrency and disappeared, never to be found again. So, how can we prevent this? Like I said, this is a very low-tech, right, attack. It takes advantage of the human. It takes advantage of our trust, right? And it takes advantage of organizations who have not trained their employees to look for this stuff. So it's really important. Technical measures, right? Cybersecurity is technology, right? It absolutely is. There's things you can do with your technology and configurations you can make to improve your chances or reduce the risk of this happening. Employee training is critical. Very, very important. And then also policy implementation. So let's talk about technical measures. There's a gold star up here, right? And that gold star is there because this is probably the one thing you can do to help you the most in these type of cases. Multi-factor authentication. If we think about the attack, right, where the controller passed on her credentials onto the attacker, when that attacker went to log in, if multi-factor authentication had been turned on, that controller would receive a request for a code, and the attacker wouldn't have that code, he never would have got in, right? So one of the best things you can do, and I would say not just for your business, but for your personal lives. If you have applications out there that you use, and it supports multi-factor authentication, I know it's annoying, it's another step, right? Turn it on. You'll thank me for it, trust me. Implementing email filtering, pretty important, both at your local level and also email and cloud services. Regularly monitoring your email accounts. We all have patterns of use, right? We either work from home or work from an office. We access our email from certain places only. Have your IT teams look at email logs, right? If Jack, who works in Rockledge, all of a sudden starts getting logins in email from Bosnia, probably something to look at, right? Anomalies, like that's the key. There's an anomaly in your system. An anomaly, for example, the controller, when she received, if multi-factor was turned on, if she received the code on her phone, but she hadn't logged in, it's kind of weird. Like, why did that happen, right? Those are anomalies. Those are the things that tip off that you're probably under attack. Disabling web access to email. I would just push your email to your laptops, your company laptops. Having open access to your email systems just increases the risk of these type of attacks. And then only provide email to those people who need it, right? There's roles within your companies that really don't need email. Don't give them an email account. Again, reducing the risk. All right, employee training, security awareness training, very important. Teach your employees what to look for. What are some of the signs of attack? Phishing emails, what do they look like? You can look at a phishing email and explore who is sent from, the language, how it's written, and there see easily that it's probably not right. Again, an anomaly. Phishing exercises, very important. It's good to test your employees. Don't use this as a way to get them in trouble, because that never works. but use it as an opportunity to teach them more about the types of phishing attacks that are out there.